Welcome back, y'all. What's happening out there in WBB land? We are back with another video, and this is a 13-part series that will chronicle every team's 2025 offseason. Each video will detail every team's current roster, their salary cap and assets, as well as look at free agent targets, needs, and an overall trajectory for the upcoming 2025 WNBA season. Without further ado, let's get it popping. For the second consecutive year, the Chicago Sky have the number 3 overall pick, and they're starting the season with a brand new head coach. This time it's Tyler Marsh coming over from Las Vegas to relieve Teaspoon of her duties only after 1 year. GM Jeff Pagliacca says this is a new direction, and I am extremely fascinated to see what this team's identity looks like. Tyler Marsh has been on record saying we need shooting, we need spacing. What will that look like in terms of who Chicago targets in free agency? And also, what will that look like for who Chicago targets in the upcoming 2025 draft? As you see, their current cap sheet has 6 players on roster with a salary of $583K. They've got almost $1 million to play with, which is good news, no doubt. But I think it might be a little bit harder than folks are anticipating in this brand new Tyler Marsh era. Let's break it down. The first bit of interesting news is, of course, Chicago sending out their qualifying offers. Now, normally this wouldn't be too interesting, as basically that qualifying offer is just letting those players know we want you back, we want to negotiate. The interesting portion is Kennedy Carter was not extended this qualifying offer, which basically tells us, even though folks in the media said it means nothing, she's not going to be back with this team, which frankly, I don't really understand. Maybe there's some locker room dynamics that we're just not privy to. But the bottom line is she's probably going to be playing elsewhere in 2025. So looking back at the qualifying offers they did extend, I think that it's almost certain Michaela Wnba is re-signed. I think the same goes for Dana Evans. There has been reports that they're trying to shop Dana Evans. Don't know I really see that happening. I think it's far more likely she just outright signs with another team. The third player seen here is Nikolina Milic, who I like. And frankly, I think Chicago needs some backup bigs off the bench. Unclear what she's planning on doing. But let's assume they do re-sign Evans and Wnba, and let's take a look at the brand new updated cap sheet. And as you see here, I have both of these players signing for $150,000. Now, I think a lot of people might think this is overpaying for these particular players. I do not think so. But regardless of what you think, you have to remember that all teams in the WNBA must spend $1.26 million to hit that minimum cap requirement. So the good news for Chicago is they're going to be able to outbid a lot of other teams. Now, the question becomes, will players want to come on a 1-year deal and probably not be very good? That's the $1 million question here. So as you see, I have Evans, Wnba, $150K per. That takes the salary up to $883. They have $623,000 left to spend. And let's go ahead and take a look at what I see are the 2 most likely draft scenarios that Jeff Pagliacca, Tyler Marsh, and the Chicago front office have cooking up. Here in scenario 1, you see what I think most fans is hoping to happen, and that's Olivia Miles being available at that number 3 overall selection. I know that Seattle just got that number 2, but I'm not sold that that's the direction they're going to go. Like I said, this is probably the front office's direction. If I was going to put that mock draft out, I think this is what I would have. And with that number 10 selection, I can absolutely see the 6-foot wing Gianna Neepkins out of Utah shooting up some draft boards. Now, interestingly enough, Lynn Roberts, her old coach, now coach of the Los Angeles Sparks, is at number 9. Do not be shocked if you see that. Also, Neepkins is a sharpshooter. Chicago needs shooting. She has good size, good fundamentals. I absolutely can see this player sneaking up draft boards. In draft scenario 2, where Seattle potentially takes Olivia Miles or Chicago has different plans, I see Sonia Citron, her teammate from Notre Dame, the 6'1" do-it-all wing, also very proficient outside shooter at that number 3 selection. And then Tahina Paopao, the South Carolina sharpshooter, coming in at number 10, also filling that need of point guard. Honestly, either scenario is pretty good for this Chicago team. I want to reiterate, I do not think they're going to be uber competitive this next season, but getting 2 very solid pieces to add to Camila Cardozo and Angel Reese will certainly be the building blocks Chicago needs to have moving forward the next 3 to 5 years. Let's assume Chicago and their fans do get what they want and they land scenario 1. That's Olivia Miles at 3, Gianna Neepkins at 10. That takes the new salary up to $1,034,000. That means they have $472,000 left to spend on those final 2 roster spots. Like I said, that's a great place to be from the perspective of being able to outbid several teams in the market for similar players. 7 such players I think Chicago will be in the market for from left to right. Izzy Harrison, I think they should absolutely try to bring her back. I think Chicago will be able to pay her more than almost anywhere apart from maybe Golden State. Tiffany Hayes, I think this one is a long shot, but there is the Tyler Marsh connection. Las Vegas will be a little strapped for cash. She could get a 200+ K bag to come to Chicago for 1 season. Then we have Shatori Walker-Kimbrough, who I think also can get a lot of money in specific places. I think she fits what Chicago is looking to be. And then we have Mahisha Hines-Allen, Aerial Powers, Diamond DeShields, and then Courtney Vandersloot. There's chatter, folks. There's chatter that Courtney Vandersloot may come back to Chicago for a little bit of a swan song. I don't really think that makes any sense at all, but if they need to spend some cash, they need to hit that $1.26 million. It's very possible they might pay her a little bit of a bloated contract for a little farewell tune. So that's what I see as far as the free agent targets going. I think best case scenario, if they can get Izzy Harrison back and Shatori Walker-Kimbrough, I think they will do very well. Like I said off the top, I think the Chicago Sky will be fascinating to watch unfold. There are trades happening all over this league. It seems like an arms race to win this title before the new CBA comes into effect. So once again, I'm not really sure what Chicago is going to look like to many of these free agents. But as always, I pass the question to you. First of all, who should they target in free agency? And second of all, who do you think they will draft? Not who do you want them to draft. Who do you think they will draft with that 3rd selection and then that 10th selection? As always, like, share, and hey, hit that subscribe button. It's free.